Hello everyone, I'm the AloneRacecar, and chances are you might have heard about this salty controversy about YouTube's new AI system where your account might be at risk of not watching certain videos because it thinks that you are under 18. Now, there has been a few AI tools that YouTube had rolled out on its platform, such as the Inspiration tab, where it can generate new ideas for you, which I did saw a fellow small YouTuber, Corey Campbell, experiment with. Shout out to you, buddy. And not to mention this whole asking an AI during a certain video to ask certain questions. It seems kind of interesting to me when I tried it myself. But what makes this one controversial is that it will detect that whether or not if you are going to be under 18 or not based on your activity, history, and longevity of your account besides the actual birth date that you set up for it. And if it does flag you as under 18, the only way you're going to prove that you're not under 18, even if it was a mistake, is that you have to hand over some personal information and your ID. And this has caused quite a bit of an uproar in the online community, especially because that this is literally pretty much handing out personal data information to companies that who knows what they're going to be doing with it. And it's even reached the attention of yours truly. And I know that I'm aware about this whole online safety act that's been happening within the UK and a little bit of Australia and a little bit of the US. But that's a whole different can of worms that I find a little bit too distressing to read, but at the same time, something that helps with the whole awareness thing. But I'm mostly here to talk about specifically about YouTube's thing because that's what caught my interest the most. Now keep in mind, I'm only going off on my own opinion, thoughts, and based on what I've heard of, especially when it comes to other videos that have been talking about this particular subject that you might be very well familiar with. So be sure to take what I say with a bit of grain of salt while you can. Now then, what the heck is going on? So as what I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, what this particular system does is that it pretty much detects whether you are a minor or not based on your activity and history. So this means that if you do watch quite a bit of kid content on YouTube, then there's a good chance you might be at risk where people go hand over the ID, whereas with some other users who pretty much watch, mature content on YouTube, might actually get away with it. Especially if them rascals have been watching that stuff behind everyone's back. So now you're probably wondering, AR, what exactly is kid content on YouTube? I'll show you that quite shortly. So don't mind the bootleg recording, but as you can see, we're at the YouTube studio with one of my latest videos about the Porsche 928. So as you can see, there are two options for where you can click on yes, it's made for kids, and saying no, it's not made for kids. If it is checked with yes, it's made for kids, then that the piece of content is made for kids. And if it's clicked no, that's where you can have the advanced restrictions for where you do age restrict your video or not, which is a simple yes or no thing. So here's a standard YouTube video. Let's take my own video for an example. So as you can pretty much tell, I can pretty much save it to a playlist, and I can even allow it to interact with such as commenting and sharing it and whatever. Now let's take SpongeBob for example. Every radical millennial and Gen Z really likes SpongeBob. Or how about Miss Rachel? I know many like her, especially when it comes to learning their first words and sign language. But as you can see, right down here, you can tell that you can't really comment, especially if I scroll down, there's nothing, just blank. Nor I can't even download or share it, or save it in playlists and whatnot. So that's the main difference between a regular piece of content on YouTube and one that is set for made for kids, or kid content. So that's the primary difference between a regular piece of content on YouTube versus one that is set for kids, or, kid content. But now here things get a little bit more complicated and even controversial too. The thing is that the more that you watch kid content, the more it's going to be sending signals to this particular AI to start thinking that this particular user watching the kid content might think it's under 18 or minor, and that would limit them to be watching very mature content or explicit content that would be 18 plus or age restricted more specifically. They're doing this in a way to pretty much like protect the kids' well-being from harmful content. And to an extent, I agree. There are some things out there that are meant to be censored, but regardless, there are some things within this platform and with the internet in general that can be quite very harmful to a child. But even if, like, the child does see something that could potentially traumatize them, it's not exactly the platform's fault. I mean, sure, it could be easy to point the child and their dumb brain for getting them into that, but there's always something a little bit more than that, and that could be the parents itself. And hey, I get that there's a bit of a nuance to this. I understand that you can't always like monitor your child's like every move onto the internet, but at the same time, parents still need to parent and have a better job when it comes to having the responsibility when it comes to monitoring your kid, especially when it comes to what they've been consuming on towards the internet. Heck, if they know what's good to them, then maybe try to limit it or even like not allow them whatsoever. At least up to an extent. Now, I'm not saying it's for all parents here, but it's mostly the ones who are letting electronic devices that would give internet access to their kids that are doing the raising for them. In fact, I'll actually play a little bit of a clip here right now.
And so, right here, this statement here is a perfect counter to everything. That, every electronic, anything that really accesses the internet does have controls to some degree. It's these parents are just too lazy to go into the settings and activate a parental control and password. And so they want to be upset about this, and then it's the big old government that comes in to do the parent's job, which is honestly unacceptable. It is. Completely unacceptable. The government shouldn't be stepping in for a parent's job. The parents should be the ones doing it, and they should be responsible for it. But I'm getting completely off topic. The point is that this congresswoman got called out for her optics, trying to obviously push this bill, the Screen Act, literally just a few days ago, getting ratioed for it. Good news to see the internet waking up and talking about this, and I think that this is very important to really elaborate on. I don't think these governments, these payment processors and organizations and everything understand what they're doing. They are waking a sleeping beast.
Alright, so I know you probably get the impression that, this whole like Online Protection Act or the Screen Act may be trying to protect children when it comes to seeing harmful content on the socials. And I guess I do sort of understand where it's coming from, because I do sort of agree that like underage kids shouldn't be allowed to create accounts on social media completely unrestricted. But the problem isn't necessarily about that. The big issue is that users of the internet may have to start handing out personal information to these companies, which could actually be prone to all sorts of like malicious things such as identity theft or doxing, which is something that I don't want to wish to happen to me. And overall, just pretty much a violation in people's privacy. Some people are now saying that the novel 1984, which is a novel that is about like a dystopian society, is starting to become more and more of a reality with how Big Brother is watching. And I don't mean like the show Big Brother, I'm talking about the actual meaning of Big Brother, where you're always constantly being watched. Now, I live in Canada, so the whole shit show that's been going on within the UK and a little bit of the US, I haven't heard anything that has been going on within my country as of right now. But I won't be surprised if Canada and other countries start catching up with it too. I mean, after all, we do live in a pretty impressionable world after all. Okay, so back on the topic on YouTube now, because I don't want to get too political while talking in this video. So with all the public backlash and uproar of YouTube's AI age verification system, YouTube did responded with a little bit of a Q&A sort of thing. I'll be sure to read it by a voiceover while I'll give you my thoughts about it as well. Okay, so I'm not going to read everything of what's said here, but I'll read out the most important things of what you need to know. So here's the first one. Will watching specific types of videos such as Pokemon, Minecraft, anime, Roblox, etc. get my account classified as under 18? And the answer is Pokemon, Minecraft, anime, and Roblox are for everyone. We understand that users on YouTube have a variety of interests. Our age estimation model does not look at one form of content in isolation to determine if an account is under the age of 18. The model assesses many different signals to reach this determination, including but not limited to YouTube activity and longevity across a user's account. It is not focused on any specific genre or video type. So the next one says, is YouTube going to start requiring ID from all of its users? And the answer to that is no. No one is required to provide their ID to use YouTube. If our age estimation model determines you are under 18, you will be notified. If you believe this is incorrect, you have the option to verify your age by submitting a government ID, selfie, or credit card. Users can choose not to submit ID and continue to use YouTube with standard protections applied to teen accounts. Teen viewers have access to all of YouTube except age-restricted content, such as content that has excessive violence or nudity. So another one reads, will YouTube think that I'm under 18 if my child watches kids' content on my account or device? And the answer to that is, our model uses a variety of signals, and we are confident that these signals help us correctly account for instances of parents or caregivers watching together with kids and make a determination based on the overall data. And as is always the case, in the scenario where our age estimation model has got this wrong, you can always verify your age by using government ID issued and selfie, credit card, and blah, blah, blah. So another one that I will read out loud is, will teens that watch my videos still be able to find them? Answer to that is, a teen viewer will still be able to watch all content on YouTube and your channel except age-restricted content. You can check if your content is age-restricted by going to YouTube Studio and using the age-restricted filter, or by looking for age restriction in the restrictions column on your videos page. Okay, so that's encouraging. So from what I've read, it sounds like that it'll have to take like multiple and consistent red flags for it to for the system to flag you as an underage user. And it's only seemed to be limiting those videos where it is pretty much age restricted, that like if you were to like browse this site as like a regular guest, it would have to ask you to sign into your account to watch that specific video. Something that's pretty common within like this space of dark media, true crime, and of course that naughty mature content. It's just that it seems like it's a much more stricter version that requires you to hand over the sites, your ID, and other personal information. But overall, for my personal sake, I feel like that me and my content is going to be okay. And hopefully you guys will be okay too, because that would really suck if people have to sacrifice their personal data just to pretty much tune into yours truly. Something I don't really want that to happen. But there are some question marks I have with this. Like, let's say, for example, like the one about where your child watches kid content on your account or device. Like, how the heck is that going to figure that out with the signals and patterns and all that? Because, like, I mean, obviously I'm not a dad, but like, if like my kids were to like watch, kids content on YouTube, I wouldn't let them, watch it on as my AloneRacecar account. I may as well like create a whole brand new like or separate account just for that. But also, isn't YouTube Kids a thing? Why can't they just watch kid content on there instead of like main YouTube and Another question mark I have about it is with the whole credit card information to verify your age. Because, like, well, usually if you were to pay for the subscription, that would require, credit card information to allow the payments to go through. So, I don't know, still a little iffy about it, but I mean, I'll probably let it go for the time being. I mean, hey, as long as I can still make content without, paying anything on my card, then yeah, I can be happy for that. And another is that for the good and bad reasons, AI can be pretty unpredictable, and as well as being pretty inconsistent. So I won't be surprised if it's starting to become a bit trigger happy among users. And yeah, I don't have much to say about that. And another big one that other users have been talking about this is that the advanced features list here, if the system flags a user as underage, there's a good chance they won't be able to do anything that's on the list right here. And this could be pretty troublesome to all those young creators out there who do want to make a name for themselves on this very platform. And they won't be able to make money from their monetized videos unless, of course, they are pretty much are willing to hand their personal information to YouTube. I've also seen those who would be like, oh, that's it, I'm done, and then they would pretty much jump ship. And then there's also this guy who is pretty much trying to promote a new YouTube-style website. Sounds pretty interesting. A thought came to mind, and I wonder if this is like a secret victory to the self-improvement space, because they're the ones who don't want us to consume so much time on here and expect us to go outside and live like monks. But if you're not a creator, then for the most part, you can pretty much still enjoy YouTube as is when it comes to going about your day browsing this very platform, like nothing's ever really happened. Some would even say this whole thing just ended up being a bit of an exaggeration, but come on. That's basically delusional thinking when we're talking about the bigger problem here. Now, I totally get where this is coming from. I've seen some of the work from Raymundo here, and if you've ever seen some of his content yourself, you can pretty much get the idea that it pretty much does care about defending the next generation from seeing the most disturbing and harmful content out there to be exposed at a young age. There has been the off chance you might have seen me in the comment section of his videos. Now, the last time I visited his channel, he's been pretty quiet so far about this whole situation as of recording, though I love to hear what he has to say about this whole thing. But at the same time, I'm not sure if he's going to be with it or against it. Hard to tell. I guess that explains why he's been pretty quiet about it so far. But regardless to all that, there's no doubt a price being paid for this. And that price being the possibility of the death of privacy as we know it, the potential of mass censorship, and to an extent, dare I say it, the cancellation of free speech. Now, YouTube's new AI system may be something that might be run from the people of YouTube based on what I've read about it, but that is still some form of surveillance. And people are now starting to say that the writer who wrote 1984 may have seen the writing of the wall about how things might turn out to be. And what frustrates me is that some of these politicians who are trying to push the Online Safety Act or the Screen Act might think that we might be supporting the bad guys here. I'll play another clip about it from another creator who was talking about this.
And I think it's crazy, because the buffoon over in the UK that's really endorsing this act says, if you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of predators. It is as simple as that. And I think it's so funny because the people over on Twitter, they added context to this post, which says, opposing the Online Safety Act isn't siding with predators, it's defending free speech. The law enables censorship, mass surveillance, and vague harm rules that threaten privacy and dissent. Rights groups worldwide have called it a danger to democracy. And I think it's so wild, that this guy who is really endorsing it and calling people predators for being against this bill, I cannot stress enough, how deplorable and how terrifying this is. And in the words of Nigel, he says absolutely disgusting, because Peter he had originally responded to Nigel's tweet saying that Peter Kyle's comments on Sky News are disgusting. He should do the right thing and apologize. And honestly, I don't know a lot about the politics and the political climate over in the UK, so I can't act like an expert. He might be as deplorable as the rest. I don't know. However, trying to say that if you oppose censorship, you're on the side of predators, that's wild work. That is gaslighting at its finest. And I know, just like the word dystopian, people like to throw that word around, but seriously, I urge you to please do your own research.
So I know some of you might criticize me for taking things from her video out of context, but what I'm trying to show is what I'm trying to state here. And the funny thing is, well, okay, it's actually not funny, it's actually very pathetic, is that seeing these posts here kind of remind me when people are trying to, like, call out the spade for people body shaming on someone's post. And they are trying to defend them like, hey, quit being so freaking rude. What do you know about this person? And only to get responses like, oh, you must look like them. Oh, you must be fighting your own weight class. We're just trying to spread the truth to make the world a better place, and all that superficial bullshit. Along the lines, posts like these is pretty much trying to tell us to literally cry about it and accept the change. And as of right now, I don't think people are choosing neither of that when it comes to fighting for their own privacy. And I don't mean the kind of privacy that will protect your computer from getting a virus. Have you been paying attention to this whole video? My apologies for bringing the political side of this situation again, but sometimes you gotta do what you need to do when it comes to bringing your opinion out there. Now, for YouTube. They're going to be rolling out this new AI thing on August 13th, 2015, which as of recording, that's basically right around the corner. And when that day approaches, there's no doubt that day is going to feel very different for us all, both creators and viewers. One thing that I have heard, and I'm not sure if it's entirely true here, but in motor racing, number 13 or racing in number 13 is apparently a thing of bad luck. And drivers in cars that race the number 13 always have the most unfortunate circumstances, from mechanical failures to crashes and just straight up bad luck and all that. Let's just hope it doesn't count for those who were born on the 13th day of the month. Jokes aside, what I'm trying to state here is that because that they'll be releasing on the 13th, it would give them bad luck by having this whole thing be a total flop and they would reverse the decision on it. At least that's what we're hoping for creators like me who are making videos like this. Okay, a little personal story here. Years ago, I once signed up to a dating app. It wasn't anything like Bumble or Hinge or anything like that. It was something a little bit different. Something a little bit more mature, if you know what I mean. And to verify your profile, which is like to prove that you are real, one of the things you have to do for that particular app is to pretty much, show your government ID. Now, you didn't have to do that if you didn't want to, but I still remember looking at that for the first time and go like, what the fuck? Now with dating sites and apps, usually to verify your profile, you would have to pick an active picture from your profile, and also a picture with you with holding up a sign with your username on it, or maybe doing a certain pose with let's say showing up your pinky or something. But for an app to ask for your government ID, I don't know, dude, that's kind of a little sketchy if you ask me. But regardless, with a dating app or a site like YouTube, don't give out ID. It's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the trouble you could get yourself into. Just don't bother whatsoever. Now listen, I like this platform. I really do. It may give me anxiety at times, but I still enjoy it. And I really hate to have this whole experience and journey of mine to be derailed over this silly rule that is pretty fundamentally broken. I like making content, and I hope I can continue to make the best content out there for you guys to watch in peace and without any disruption. And for those who get flagged, if this means that you have to jump ship, then so be it. Or if you have to start a brand new account, then so be it as well. Just make sure you binge watch a bunch of true crime and a little bit of yours truly. Hey now, I could use the business. Now, I have been wrong before, but with what's been going on right now, it's kind of hard to lie to yourself about this at this very moment. As far as I know, the most notable stuff has been mostly going on within the UK and a little bit of the US. Plus, this whole AI thing has mostly been going on towards the US users as of right now. There hasn't been anything that's going on within Canada that I'm aware of. So, for the time being, but we shouldn't let our guard down. In fact, as us Canadians, we should probably continue to stand on guard. But sometimes, Whatever happens in places like the UK and the US could eventually affect the rest of us, or, dare I say it, the rest of Western culture. But it also goes out saying that we should also do our part to spread awareness of what the heck is going on. No matter how much they try to sanitize it, the online world will always be a potentially harmful place for someone underage, no matter what. The 13th of August is coming close, and it's coming fast. And YouTube is going to feel like a different place afterwards, for many of us. While there might be still a fighting chance out there, we'll have to wait and see of what unfolds. But until then, I've done my part. This was AloneRacecar, and remember, don't give out ID to places and websites where you can't trust your personal information.